Hello and welcome to Theater Operations Unleashed, the monthly show that explores the ins and outs of theater operations, management, facilities, and design. I'm your host, Raymond Kent. In each episode, we will be focusing on management, operations, design, trends, and best practices in the performing arts. I hope to bring you both insights from my 4 decades in the industry, as well as engaging conversations with theater professionals about the challenges and rewards of their work. We'll also cover a wide range of topics from budgeting and scheduling to marketing and audience development, theater technology, and many other related topics. Whether you're a theater maker yourself or just interested in the industry, I hope you'll find this podcast informative and inspiring. So sit back, relax, or lean in, and let's dive into the world of theater. Welcome back, and today we're going to be stepping into a part of accessibility that is often overlooked, not because it's unimportant, but because it's less visible. We're talking about cognitive, sensory, and neurodivergent accessibility. If you've been following this series, you know we've covered the history of disability in the arts, the legal landscape, and the foundations of universal design. Now we're going deeper into the lived experiences of people whose access needs aren't about ramps or door widths, but are about information, sensory environments, communication, predictability, and emotional safety. And here's the truth. Every audience includes people with cognitive disabilities, sensory processing differences, autism, ADHD, anxiety, PTSD, hearing loss, vision differences, and mental health conditions. Not might include, does include. So today, we're going to explore what it means to design and operate performing arts spaces that welcome the full range of human minds and senses. Let's start with a scenario. A first-time visitor arrives at a theater. They have anxiety, sensory processing differences, and hearing loss in one ear. They read online that the venue has an assisted listening system, but the website doesn't explain how to get a receiver or whether it works with their hearing aid. They wind up walking into a loud, crowded lobby. A photo backdrop blocks the main accessible route. The bar line snakes around the floor. No staff are visible, and they can't find the box office. They ask strangers for directions and get conflicting answers. By the time they reach their seat, they're exhausted, and the show hasn't even started. Nothing in this story involved a ramp or a doorway, but every barrier was sensory, cognitive, or procedural. And these barriers are everywhere, unless we intentionally design them out. For decades, accessibility in the arts has focused on mobility, ramps, wheelchair seating, accessible entrances. All those things matter, and they matter deeply. But mobility is only one piece of the puzzle. The CDC estimates that about 10.8% of adults have a cognitive disability. 5.9% have hearing difficulty, 4.6% have vision difficulty, and millions more live with anxiety, PTSD, autism, ADHD, sensory processing differences, or age-related changes. And many people who don't identify as disabled still experience environments in ways that are shaped by neurodivergent sensory sensitivity or mental health. The social model of disability tells us people aren't disabled by their bodies or minds. They're disabled by environments that don't account for them. So when we change the environment, we change the experience. Cognitive disabilities do include intellectual and developmental disabilities, acquired brain injuries, dementia, Alzheimer's, stroke-related cognitive changes, age-related memory or processing differences, and overlaps with autism and ADHD. For many people, the biggest barrier in a performing arts venue is wayfinding. Research shows that people with cognitive impairments rely heavily on environmental legibility, the ability to understand a space without needing to decode complex signs or instructions. So what helps? A single, obvious main entrance. Clear sightlines from one decision point to the next. Consistent signage with text and pictograms. Color-coded zones. Staff positioned at key points. Pre-visit materials like maps, photos, and what to expect guides. Social stories. Simple, visual explanations of the experience from arrival to applause. And that's just a short list of a few things. And let's talk about programs. Traditional programs are dense, small print, and visually overwhelming. A cognitively accessible program includes a plain language synopsis, a clear cast list, scene by scene guide, duration and intermission details, high contrast, readable typography. These aren't special accommodations, they're good design for everyone. Now let's talk about autism and sensory processing differences. Autism is a spectrum. And as Stephen Shore famously said, if you've met one person with autism, you've met exactly one person with autism. Autistic people often experience sensory environments differently. That might mean hypersensitivity, intense reactions to sound, light, or touch, or hyposensitivity seeking more sensory input. Performing arts environments can be both magical and overwhelming. Crowds, noise, bright lights, unexpected cues, social expectations, unpredictable transitions. That's why sensory friendly and relaxed performances have become so important. These performances typically include lower sound levels, reduced lighting intensity, no sudden loud effects, permission to move, vocalize, or take breaks, a quiet space for regulation, pre-visit social stories, staff trained in neurodiversity awareness. And here's the key. These performances aren't just for autistic people. They benefit people with anxiety, people with PTSD, older adults with hearing aids, parents with young children, anyone who prefers a gentler environment. Beyond special performances, venues can improve sensory accessibility every day by reducing lobby reverberation, offering adjustable lighting, limiting strong scents, providing sensory kits with ear defenders and fidgets, creating quiet spaces for anyone who needs a break. These changes are low cost, but high impact and deeply human. ADHD is common, and especially common in creative communities. People with ADHD, like myself, often experience hyperfocus during creative work, difficulty with long periods of stillness, sensitivity to boredom or low stimulation, challenges with time management or transitions. For audience members, this means long performances without intermissions can be difficult. Clear communication about duration helps. Comfortable seating that allows subtle movement is beneficial. Digital programs can reduce the need to flip through dense print. For workers that might work within an arts organization, accommodations can easily include written instructions alongside verbal ones, structured check-ins, advanced notice of schedule changes, reduced distractions in the workspace. And again, these aren't special favors. There are ways to support the people who make the arts possible. Learning disabilities like dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia affect millions of people. In the performing arts, the biggest barriers are often written materials. Dyslexia-friendly design includes larger type, increased line spacing, high contrast sans serif fonts, clear hierarchy, plain language. Digital formats help too, allowing people to use screen readers or text-to-speech tools. For workers, accommodations might include extra time for proofreading, digital documentation, alternative ways to demonstrate understanding, and tools that reduce reliance on written memory. The mental health conditions are widespread. This includes anxiety, PTSD, and emotional safety, and especially prevalent in the performing arts community. Anxiety disorders, depression, PTSD, these aren't edge cases, they're everyday realities. For audience members, triggers can include crowded lobbies, long lines, loud or sudden effects, confusing procedures, social pressure, unpredictability. Design and operational responses include clear pre-visit information, predictable processes, quiet waiting areas, staff trained in de-escalation and supportive communication, transparent policies about late seating, re-entry, and intermissions. For workers, accommodations might involve flexible scheduling, access to quiet space, clear communication channels, supportive supervision, reduce stigma around disclosure. Mental health accessibility is cultural as much as it is environmental. So that's the landscape beyond physical access. And again, I'm just scratching the surface here. The world of cognitive, sensory, and neurodivergent experience. And here's the takeaway. If we design only for mobility, we miss the majority of our audience. If we design only for compliance, we miss the humanity of our audience. Accessibility is not a checklist. It's a mindset, a practice, a commitment to designing spaces where people feel safe, welcomed, and understood. In the next episodes, we're going to start applying these ideas again to real spaces, the lobby, auditorium, backstage environment, and the full operational ecosystem of a performing arts venue. So let's keep building stages where everybody belongs. Thanks for taking the time today to listening to Theater Operations Unleashed. We hope to see you next month.